What rural development does is really focuses on the community around that farm and that ranch. And that's really what our message is, where our focus is. We have 3 different areas that we focus on. There's a housing side, kind of direct loans, things like that. A business side, where a lot of guaranteed loans, and then also some grants. Everybody always keys in on that phrase.
Right.
And then of course our community facilities, which is everything kind of above and below ground. So your buildings, fire departments, and your infrastructure from water to sewer.
Welcome to the 2026 ALEC annual meeting here in Orlando, Florida, with Charles Tassell. Now this is a state meeting, but you're with the U.S. Department of Agriculture, which you say, well, maybe you're at the wrong meeting.
Well, 29 departments at USDA. We're with Rural Development. I'm a state director in Ohio, and really appreciate the opportunity to network with the state legislators and kind of hopefully help relieve some pain points.
Right. Tell me about rural America and farming, and how important it is to make sure that is a vibrant area of our economy.
Well, I can tell you President Trump, Ohio's own Vice President Vance, and Secretary Rollins are absolutely focused on making sure that rural America is not forgotten. It has been overlooked far too long, and really our focus, and they're tasked us with making sure we get into rural communities and support them. And a lot of times we focus on kind of the farm and the rancher, and we want to support them, but also what rural development does is really focuses on the community around that farm and that ranch. And that's really what our message is, where our focus is. We have 3 different areas that we focus on. There's a housing side, kind of direct loans, things like that. A business side, where a lot of guaranteed loans, and then also some grants. Everybody always keys in on that phrase.
Right.
And then of course our community facilities, which is everything kind of above and below ground. So your buildings, fire departments, and your infrastructure from water to sewer.
It sounds like you also are a great repository for how do you fund projects that need to happen in rural America that they may not have the resources right there to make them happen, whether it's the police department. So you must be a very popular guy when you go around some of these rural communities.
Well, it actually a hidden secret, because rural development, and that's part of why we wanted to be here, is to share with the representatives and senators, we can be one of those relief factors. I was an ACE member, having served as a council member, and really trying to figure out how do you put a project together. And that's really where we help on the community facilities side to say, okay, if it's a $3 million fire department, or I need a new administrative building, or a water development and pumps, how do I start getting there? And everybody's like, well, I want grant money, I want this. Okay, great, but you have to have a project first, and we'll help them design that, lay it out. So maybe it's a $3 million project, but it takes a year or 2 to put it together. In the meantime, they now have a project. They can go to the state, they can go to FEMA, they can go to other places, and even to us potentially for grant money. And now they've come back and say, hey, we've got $1.5 million of that $3 million already in grant. We only need $1.5 million in loan, and we work with them to stretch that out. Right. So possibly up to 35 years, 4-5% interest rates. And on water and sewer, that can be 2% interest rates. So again, it's really focusing on how do we help in that area and really lessen those pain points to put those projects together and moving forward.
So when you enter a community, what's that first line you say to them?
We're from the federal government. We're here to help, and we honestly mean it. And it's really been refreshing.
It sounds like this is a real application of it.
It is. And when you hear a safety service director, a mayor, just going, I can't get this project together, and you're working with them for a couple hours, and the voice change of like, we can do this. Right. And that's really what we're here to come along with and help with. I often say it this way: is our focus is to bring federal programs to state priorities and really partner those two together. We want to be there as a partner. And we talk about it in terms of, with the business side, being part of that capital stack. When you're bringing businesses in, we want to reshore businesses. That's an absolute focus of the president. Secretary is on board. We want to make sure we are actually helping to bring those businesses, especially from China and other places, bring them back to the U.S. And our rural communities need those business opportunities. Right. We're coming up on the silver tsunami, right? So we've got transitions. Well, that also includes for farms. Farms need help with transitions. There's different facets of USDA will help with some of the farm itself. But if you want your kids to be able to stay and live in the community, there have to be job opportunities, business opportunities, and even housing there. And we help with all those facets around the farm.
An area that, in the way you describe it, that sort of strikes a real chord is in the term security. And we have military, troop security, first lines of defense securities. People forget, at least it's down the line of security priorities about food security and the importance of rural America.
Absolutely. July 6th of 2025, the President, Secretary Rollins, they talked about the fact that food security is national security. Sometimes we'll say it as farm security is national security. That even translates into, like, we have a grant presently on fertilizer.
I'm just going to get into the fertilizer.
Yeah, fertilizer is an aspect, because if we're getting fertilizer inputs from parts of the world that are either blocked or at war or can hold it against us, China and others, we've got to be careful. We've got to make sure we bring those inputs home. And so we have a fertilizer program that is for expanding, and really it's $500 million. August 14th is the current application deadline. And we really are looking for kind of that $15 million and up programs for fertilizer companies that want to seriously expand their footprint and their market share in the U.S. And you'll hear that over and over again, in the U.S. And we especially want it in the rural parts of our U.S. area. So, absolutely.
Well, I can tell that our ALEC members, at least, should really appreciate you being from Washington, and you're here to help.
Absolutely. And we have state directors in almost every single state. A few small ones might be consolidated, but we're here, and whether it's the farms, we've also got on there's the new effort that's been brought forward on the seaside. So we've got our farmers of the seas. We've got those out there as well, and we're supporting oceans and fishing and different projects that way as well.
And so our ALEC members and anyone else that's watching can go to alec.org, contact us, and they can put them in touch with you if there's a project in your community that you need some help with.
Absolutely. And one of the things, 70 plus programs at Rural Development, just within our area. We actually have an eligibility map, and I encourage folks to go type in your address for that eligibility map. It will show you the business and community facilities programs that are available in that community.
That's fantastic. With Charles Tassell of the U.S. Department of Agriculture here at the 2026 Annual ALEC meeting in Orlando, Florida. Thank you so much, and I appreciate you giving out money to our rural community.
Absolutely. Reinvest those tax dollars back in.
Take care.